Hello and welcome to another episode of my devlog where I make a Spyro-like level based off of the third Spyro game. In this episode, I created a tooltip, so when you enter a volume, something should pop up and allow you to do something. I created a system similar to this in an old project, so I opened that up and saw what I did in order to get text to pop up when you enter a volume. Once I refamiliarized myself with that, I jumped into my game. First, I needed to fix a couple of things. I needed to make sure that when you jump and when you press the E button to climb onto a wall or when you glide, that it was all foolproof, so overlapping those things didn't cause any problems. Then I created a volume. This volume is going to contain the blueprints to say that you can climb something, and if you can climb something, then bring up the text on the screen. I created a completely new widget that had the text itself. So the player HUD will call that new widget and do whatever it is that I need it to do. I originally followed a tutorial that had rich text in the main player HUD, but then I realized that I didn't really need that, so I decided to do away with it and create a new widget that will call the text. This level in the Spyro game doesn't have any climbing on it, so I kind of just picked a spot that was close to where I spawned the character and placed the volume, just so I could test it. I was having a little bit of trouble seeing exactly what was happening, so I added a couple of print strings in order to make it clear what exactly was happening. It turns out that I didn't really need this because the text was just too light for me to see and the ground was light and yeah, but after a day I closed the program down and reloaded it the next day and realized, oh, I didn't actually have to do this, like it was actually working perfectly fine. That is just the nature of game development, and especially using Unreal, because sometimes you just have to turn it off and turn it on again. In the player blueprint, I created a custom event that calls the tooltip whenever you're in the volume. This is how I was able to get the two blueprints to talk to each other. In order to make the text customizable across the same blueprint that is placed in the world, I expose the text variable that I created to be a public variable. You can do this just by clicking the I next to the text variable, and it will allow you to customize it per placed object in the scene. So here, I positioned the turnips to be in roughly the same spot. Then I placed two more to be in the final destination that the cheetah jumps to in the game. I mostly did this just so I could get the world coordinates for it. Then in the blueprint, once you leave the first turnip box, it will destroy itself and spawn a new one in the new location. I decided not to put the animation in. For one, I'm not an animator, and for two, it was just easier to get it to spawn there, and this is kind of just quick and dirty anyway. I just needed to do a little bit of tweaking to get the timing right, or at least acceptable enough for now. Finally, I decided to add a kill volume underneath the floor. I have so many terrible collision mistakes in here just because I did it so quick. And I created a checkpoint in previous episodes where that you just spawn into. So if you do fall through the ground, then you can continue playing instead of having to press play again for playtesting purposes. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I really appreciate it. Stay tuned for the next one.